All right. So I'm recording you now. So if you just met somebody for the first time and you walk up with your husband, it's somebody that your husband already knows, and you walk up and the person that you're meeting knows you as your husband's wife. He knows you're married to your husband. Get it? So he knows you guys are together. And you just meet that person, it's a guy, and then you talk to him, you ask him a question about, like, let's say he's a chef, and then you say, well, I don't think you make lasagna with this type of noodle. I don't think you should. I make my lasagna this way. So you don't agree with how he makes the lasagna, and you just kind of challenge how he makes his lasagna, right? I'm just giving an example. So you challenge his expertise. And after you challenged it, you say, okay, thank you for explaining that to me. Then he starts talking to your husband again, right? And then he says to your husband, yeah, this was a great meeting, and I knew you were going to bring in your pit bull to talk to me. He calls you your husband's pit bull. He says, you're pit bull. Don't say any names or anything, but he says, oh, I knew you would bring in your pit bull. How would you feel about that? Would you think he's just being nice, or what was he think? What would you think?
I would think that he would be being maybe like rude, like pit bull, because he's referring to me. And that would be very rude, because a pit bull is, it can be at times ferocious, mean, maybe sometimes aggressive. So it wouldn't be like a compliment.
Right. And then if you said to him, why would you call me a pit bull? And then how would you feel if your husband jumped in before he can even answer and start saying, oh, he was okay. Now I appreciate your answer. So what if your husband, what if you asked him, why did you call me a pit bull? And then your husband, before the guy could even answer,
you're cutting in and out.
Okay, let me take this off. Okay. What if after he called you a pit bull, you said, why would you call me a pit bull? And before the guy could even answer, your husband jumps in and starts defending him, saying, oh, come on, that was a compliment. He didn't mean anything by that. Before he can even explain himself, how would you feel?
I would feel like they did need to, stand up for him, but for me instead, and I would be upset now with my husband. I'd be like, why are you taking his side and not, standing up for me? I'd be very upset at my husband.
Okay, great. One more question. What if after you guys go home and you're talking privately, your husband says, you're too sensitive, and that's why I don't want to bring you to those parties, because you're always ruining the party when things like that happen? How would you feel?
Oh, again, that would make me upset, and I'd be like, how? I would question him. How would I be ruining the party, defending myself against such a metaphor as, being called like a pit bull? I'm not like a pit bull. I'm not ferocious and aggressive. I'm very feminine, classy, and it's soft. I'm not. That'd be horrible. That'd be a horrible thing for him to do. Say whatever. Anyway, yeah.
Thank you so much. Let me go ahead. Hold on. You did great. I'm gonna just mute up. Okay, so I'm going to move on to another woman These are random. I haven't explained anything to anybody. Nobody knows anything about what actually happened. They don't know who I'm talking about. But let me call yet another woman and see how this woman thinks about it. Give me a moment. Hey.
Hey, this me and Gemini.
Okay, listen, I'm calling you. All right, so I had to talk to my sister real quickly on mute. Sorry about that, but now I'm unmuted. I wasn't prepping anybody. Everybody has their own mind, but I was just explaining that I am recording this out of respect and obviously transparency. I don't want anybody to not be aware that they're being recorded. So here's yet another woman. This is the second woman I'm asking, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Hello, Sakina. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you, sister?
I'm good. Now, first I'm going to ask Sakina, then we're going to call my sister Gemini, but I'm going to ask Sakina first. Now, I'm not breaking up or anything, right?
You're kind of breaking up.
Okay, hold on. No, I'm gonna, because it's my speaker. Hold on. Okay, so I'm gonna ask the question, then I'm gonna put you on speaker for your answer. I'm giving you a scenario. If you go to a party with your husband, and at the party there are men there who know your husband, and they know he's married to you. And then one of the people at the party, let's say, is a chef, and you're a chef as well. And then you tell the chef, oh, I don't usually make my lasagna like that. I make my lasagna with just vegetables, but you make your lasagna with meat. My vegetable lasagna is healthier. And then the chef says, no, my meat lasagna is healthy. And then you talk back and forth and exchange information about the lasagna. You don't yell, you don't disrespect him, you don't say anything nasty. And then afterwards you say, okay, that's great. Well, I enjoyed the lasagna nonetheless. After you talk to your husband's chef friend, the chef friend turns to your husband and says, well, I'm glad you came to the party, and I knew you would sick your pit bull Sakina on me, but that's good. Everything's fine. How would you feel about, first off, I want you to answer, because I'm going to ask you a series of questions. How would you feel about him saying, after you just challenged him on his lasagna, how would you feel about him calling you your husband's pit bull? Okay, now you can speak. You there?
I'm already taken back. What do you mean, the pit bull?
Keep going.
Right, because my mouth is wide shut. I'm the pit bull now.
Yeah, you're your husband's pit bull. So would you think that's offensive?
Right, I'm the pit bull. Why am I the pit bull? I'm glad that you sent the pit bull. What are we saying? What are you saying? Before I snap off. Why am I a pit bull here?
Thank you. Now let me ask you another question. I don't want to break up, so I'm going to go off the speaker, and then when I'm finished asking the question,
you cut off.
I know. Hold on. See my speaker on my phone. Okay. So great. Now I'm going to ask you another question. So after he says that, you stand there, you don't freak out, you stand there politely, and you're thinking about what you just said that's running through your mind. So then you notice that nobody says anything. So you decide and you ask the man, the chef friend of your husband, why do you feel comfortable calling me a pit bull? But before the chef friend can even answer, your husband jumps in and defends the guy and says, oh, don't worry, don't start asking these questions. You're going to ruin the party. How would you feel as a woman when you ask just a question, why did you call me a pit bull? How would you feel being cut off and seeing the man being defended for calling you a pit bull by your own husband? You're on speaker.
No, honestly, at the party, I'm probably going to leave.
Okay, great. Because I don't want you to go too in. I get it. I'm not trying to drag you into anything because you're going to leave, right? Because you don't feel like you were offended and you don't feel like you belong because nobody seems to think that it's wrong. Am I putting words in your mouth?
To keep from turning this into a me and my husband thing, right? And to keep from snapping on this man that just called me a pit bull, and this my husband's friend, and you just called me a pit bull. I'm already in my feelings now. Right now, I'm in my feelings anyway.
Right. So
you just called me a pit bull.
Right. So right? Would you be wrong?
I thought we just had a decent conversation. First of all, I just thought we had a conversation and it was okay. But now I'm a pit bull, and out of respect for my husband, you saying don't do this, and so I'm mad now because you saying we not gonna do this, make the scene. So I'm not gonna take this out on you in public because it's not what we do. So I'm about to walk outside to the car or whatever, and then we can discuss this later.
Okay, great. Right. Now let me ask you a question. Okay. Hold on. Do you think you would be wrong before your husband said anything, after he had called you a pit bull? Would it be out of line for you to ask him, why did you call me that?
No, because that would have been my first thing. Why I got to be a pit bull?
Okay, thank you. Now, one more question. If after the party, you and your husband go home, and a bunch of the people from the party start calling your home, telling your husband, why did she ask him that? He was just giving her a compliment. I'm going to say it again.
How's that a compliment?
Wait, I know. I was going to let you go. Hold on. She was just getting a compliment. She's so sensitive. She shouldn't come to the party if she's going to get sensitive. He was complimenting her. How would you feel if a bunch of people were gaslighting you, calling your home, saying that man actually was giving you a compliment by calling you a pit bull?
Listen, okay. Let's take this part. Do you remember when and I don't know if they still do this, because like I said, I grew up in Milwaukee and Chicago and Michigan. So there was a time not too long ago when men were calling each other the dog. What's up, dog? What's up, my dog? What's up, dog? Right? And so men were too comfortable to a point they were calling they homegirls and women dog. What up, dog? What up, dog? I'm not that. Right? And so I don't appreciate that. I don't even like you to call me man.
Thank you.
See? And so when you talk to me like that, I have a problem with that. I'm not your man. I'm not your dog. I'm not your G. I'm not none of that. And so I have a problem with that.
Thank you.
I have a problem with just disrespect, period. And so if you're going to call me a dog, you might as well call me the B word, right? And then let's go from there. That's why when we was talking about the elephant in the room, and I'm in the room, just address me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Queen.
So,
yeah. I love your input. I want to just ask you, now I gave you the scenario about the lasagna and the party, but I think you were there. You witnessed me asking. All I want you to do is focus on me asking the question. Did you see me ask the question on that panel after that debate?
Yeah, I saw you when you came on and was talking about like everybody else. Yeah.
Thank you. Did I attack that man, that brother or Ryan? Did I attack him?
No more than Gideon.
Did I yell at him and call him out of his name or call him stupid?
No.
So I basically was pressing him about Isaiah 1 and 3, and I stayed on him about the scripture, correct?
Correct.
So out of the 5 brothers that asked him questions, why was I called the pit bull?
If it would have been, it would have probably been toward the end.
Oh, he did call me. You didn't see him call me a pit bull?
No.
Oh, yeah, he did.
I thought everybody was closing out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember saying it was a great show, yada, yada, yada. But I remember you saying that it was still a great show. It was a good build. And I remember you asking a question. But pretty much after that, I don't know, I think I left somewhere along the line. But I remember saying it was a good build. And then I left shortly after that. So, but I remember you did ask him a question. I remember, what's that man's name? Santan asking a question. Right?
Right. Okay.
Exactly. So, right. But I remember it being a good bill. And I remember you did ask him a question. Right. And then from there on, right. I don't remember. That's why I asked on the other chat this morning.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So thank you so much. You stayed neutral. You're not taking anybody's side. You just let me know from me giving you the question of the scenario, how you would feel about being called a pit bull by some strange man you'd never met before that one time. And so now I'm going to, I love you. I'm going to call you later, but I'm going to give my sister Gemini a call right now. And I'm going to ask her the question. So I'm just going to mute out you guys. Because again, I got to let her know that I'm going to be recording her. This isn't even live right now. It's pre-recorded. But I just need you to hold a moment, be patient, and let me put this on mute.
Frankie on the trendsetter.
You did it again, man.
General, HOK Field Marshal, no?
Apple Nation.
None of them can but a dance on the top.
Revelation, set the top.
Violate the general. Head up in a blood clot funeral home. Anchor the AK, Jabari got the crown. Hector West the Har, we sending them home. Regina the alley with a Cuban and a galley. Send you back on Nile Valley with a shot in your toe intellectually. How click the link if your scholarship stop him. Or if just want make you cry with the truth. No lie, my youth, him a really story. And 21 gun salute for commission. Not a brother, a hustle, a move like all I found the black woman not all like Olson, a yarn of our sister freedom. I don't hold panel, no one time for Bible thumping. The minute them see me come, reviation set. From the trendsetter, none of them can bother.
Alrighty, I am back. I hope you enjoyed that little music. Well, I didn't want it just to be dead air. So now I have my sister, the goddess, Gemini the goddess. I'm going to ask her this, basically the same line of questions that I've asked the other ladies when I called them. And we're going to get some input from other women. Maybe I was wrong. I don't know. Maybe I was super sensitive about being called a pit bull by a strange man that I've never met. So let's go ahead. Peace to you, Gemini, the goddess. How are you?
Peace. I'm fine. Just now getting off. You caught me at a great time. How's everything?
Everything's great. Everything's beautiful. Just trying to, elevate, be a better person, make the people, better at what they do and what they see and hear. So with that said, I'm going to give you a scenario of like a situation. I'm not going to tell you the actual situation that happened. I'm just going to give you a random scenario that I'm making up, but it kind of, pertains to what I experienced. So imagine that you go to a fundraiser with your husband. Now, he is the organizer of the fundraiser, and he has different donators, different people that he deals with at the fundraiser who know that you are his wife. They've met him and they respect him and they know you're his wife, but they've never interacted with you. So you walk up and you're obviously a corporate woman, you're a businesswoman, and you see another person who also is, let's say, the CEO of this particular business that you're very, very familiar with. And you say, well, in my company, in our corporation, we don't do business like that. And our numbers show, you get into this back and forth. It's not disrespectful. There's no yelling. You both are very respectful to each other, both of you. And you have this exchange for maybe like 2 minutes. And at the end of the exchange, you both say, okay. And you say, well, I really love your company regardless. And the person says, yes, I respect your company. You're doing great. And you say, thanks for talking to me about that. Nice to meet you. That is how your conversation goes, right? With the man. Mm-hmm. It was totally cordial. When the man turns to your husband and he says a couple things and he says, well, I love the fundraiser. You're standing there and everybody else is there at the party. And then he says, and I really loved everything. And I'm not surprised. Here comes the quote. I'm not surprised that your pit bull, Gemini, the goddess, approached me and, challenged me about my business. And that was all good. So I'll see everybody later. Okay.
Wow.
So how would you feel?
Yeah, not cool.
Okay. Now you stand there okay, so you got it. Not cool. You're real quick. Now
Okay.
I'm going to go with another question. You're standing there. You're composed. You don't freak out. You don't start waving your finger around in his face and rolling your neck. But you sit there and you think, because nobody says anything. Nobody asks him why he said that. Nobody says, oh, come on, she's not the pit bull. Nobody in the room, including your husband. They just act like he said something normal. And then you decide, you make an executive decision to politely ask him, why would you call me a pit bull when you just met me? Like, how do you feel comfortable calling any woman a pit bull? Would that be a wrong question? Yeah. Ask me, would that be inappropriate?
That's definitely an appropriate question. Meyer, what is going on here that's the thought that first hit your mind, and you talking to somebody else's, a man's woman. I'm a man's wife here on in this situation. So I don't understand that.
Thank you.
I'm having a hard time with that decision of word choice right then and there.
Yeah. So you think it would be appropriate for you to just kindly ask him, what would make you call me a pit bull?
Okay, Navarre?
Oh, shoot. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Wait. So do you think it would be inappropriate if you didn't get in his face, you didn't wag your finger, but you think that would be a fitting question at that moment after a little pause and, even the conversation carried on to something else, and you came back and said, I just want to ask you, what would make you feel comfortable? Go ahead.
No, give me a second, Mike.
Oh.
Yeah, 2 seconds.
Okay, go ahead. So while she needs a minute because she's busy, but as you heard her so far, she said that it's not an inappropriate question. She said it's an appropriate question. I want to make sure you heard her say it's an appropriate, because it might have sounded like inappropriate. She said it's an appropriate question, because why would you feel comfortable to call me a pit bull? And while we're waiting for her to come back, no, none of this is to get on anybody. None of this is to attack the brother. None of this is to attack anybody who was there. But what I'm doing is defending myself, because now...
Sorry about that. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just talking, because now I'm being gaslighted by a couple audience members, and they're going to the head and saying, I caused problems. So I'm going to ask you this other question right here, Gemini. So in the scenario...
Well,
no, go ahead. Say what you need to say.
Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, say it.
Anything that a person has to sit here and clarify and clear up to say, if you have to say to me, oh, that's not the way that they meant, they didn't mean it like that. Yes, they did then, because you don't need to clarify things that you already understand. So only when we have a misunderstanding am I asking you, say what? Say that again? Why did you say that? What is all that for? So then if you have to sit here and if those questions come to your mind, then the person definitely said something that was offensive. It's as simple as that.
Thank you. So, number one, he said it. Number two, he even explained that he thought that I'm an aggressive person because he's seen me on panels doing the debates. But now I'm going into, what I was referring to. I want to ask you, and then I'm going to let you go, and I'm going to call one more sister. I appreciate all you queens weighing in. I want to ask you, and by the way, the guy has apologized profusely. He and I have spoken offline. He will never do that again. You live and you learn. So this isn't a bash on him, but what I didn't appreciate is seeing so many people in the chat saying, oh, come on, he was giving you a compliment. Oh, Eve calls herself a pit bull. So I know it's hard because I'm on speaker, but you're on speaker, and I know I'm choppy. But one more thing, just I want you to weigh in on, and then I'm gonna let you go. I appreciate you. Do you think that, or do you see some type of bias with as far as me as a debater, where I'm always referred to as a dragon and a pit bull with these brothers, but everybody else can get up there and call it the toughest environment? I mean, is it me?
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
No, it's not you. It definitely, depends. And I mean, and as far as, the name calling. So if you're going to sit and say, hey, she's a dragon, meaning, oh, okay, she's tough. But then in order for you to say that about me, you have watched several debates, kind of know me to know that maybe I can be tough. And if you're going to call me a dragon, it's a slayer behind that. Dragon slayer. That's what I do. Beat people up, right? So, okay, I can go with that. But if I do not know you and you sit and say something to the effect of, why did you call your pit bull on me? The first thing coming to my mind is, so you call me the B word?
Thank you.
You called me, you what? So now and I don't even know you. Have I ever debated you? Where's that coming from? What are we talking about? So I think just when that, because the debate was about, the salvation of Christians versus non-Christians. But if this guy is calling himself a Christian in the first place, maybe that's why he's so comfortable with sitting here, already have this biasness within himself to think that, most of those Hebrew men feel like women are second-class citizens. Oh, it's just this woman. She's a nobody. Oh, it's just this woman. She the Bible say, that the woman, should be seen and not heard. Oh, she's just a woman. So let me just say this about her. Meanwhile, giving all the men a pass. It's like, okay, you just got through telling Yara how he's living in an antiquated mindset. Sir, so are you, or you didn't know that before you said that. What's going on here?
Wow. Thank you so much. Hold on. I'm slow with it, right? Just give me a second. You know what I'm I'm slow.
Because I'm watching the debate right here. That, these curses and whatnot, are still going on. And his position was the curses were not going on because he's supposed to have been, in my opinion, coming from a modern take or a modern place. But when he lashed out at you, if he lashed out and said that to you, then he's coming from an antiquated place. Because those are things that you say when you think that women are second class or women have no standing or no real proper position.
Right. Thank you.
That's an antiquated mindset.
Wow. Thank you.
What was the whole point of talking to Yara? I don't understand that.
Wow. Let me give you another bomb. I'm on it now. Hold on. I absolutely love you. You hit it on the head. You added some great points that I didn't even add. I will repeat that the brother, and I'm calling him a brother. I know who he is. The man apologized to me profusely. He had it, how do we say? He had it twisted, and now he's untwisted. Yeah. He's all untangled, and he's straight on the right path. Hopefully, I think he is. So, yeah. I'm going to call
him to the show. Yeah, I think he may need to get right some more. You done got right with the Lord. Now it's time to come meet the Holy Ghost. You invite him to the show.
I would love to, and I already told him to come in. I already did. I'm already ahead of you because also I didn't mention this right, but I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to call one more sister, who I respect and want to hear from, who I know won't be biased, won't be telling me what I want to hear, who loves everybody, loves the HOK, loves Sonnetter, loves the vibe. So it's not everybody I've asked, they don't have any, any horse in this race. So
right.
I want to notice I said horse and not dog, but okay. So also he is a man of the Caucasian persuasion. So that was already too a big. There's a lot of weight on that when you start calling Black women aggressive and pit bulls.
Yes.
And if he didn't know it, he absolutely knows it now. So the white men that I have encountered or who are around me know better not to say certain things to Black people and the white women. And same with us. I know not to say things to Asian people that I know have some bad history, or small hat people, which we say Jewish people. I know how to move carefully, and we all should know that. We should never feel so comfortable that our lips are so loose that we don't think, you know what I'm saying? Gemini, yeah, we're going to do a show on this.
Yeah, because you know what? So that means then, and I'm going to land with this. Yara was right then. Because all night long, Yara had kept sitting here saying, man, the underlying motive is racism. You are a racist, sir. He kept saying that all night. And I kept on sitting saying, I'm following Yara, and I'm trying to see where he's going with this racism thing. But I see it now, because for him not to understand that a pit bull is a racist remark for a Black female,
yes,
does have a problem with this. And he doesn't see himself as a Ryan does not see himself as a racist, but he is low key. It is underlying. It is right there, pushing the border. He's there. And Yara kept saying that. So I see it now.
Wow. You got 3 bombs. So I love you. We will get a show on this. And again, this isn't to drag him. I'm going to say that what we're saying is he's not a full-fledged racist, but he has racist things undertones that, and we all have things we have to work on. It's not like, we're just like, let's dog on him. He's not the only one who's like that. This is society. society itself.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he's at the end of the day, he's an asset. Should we brought Jane Elliott on? I found out she has some too, and she's supposed to be the I don't see color. They're talking about we don't need reparations, but don't let me get started. I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna call you guys later. I have one more sister to call, and I love you. I appreciate your input. Thank you so much.
Okay.
All right,
Love
peace.
you much. Have a good one.
All right, sis. Thanks.
Bye.
Peace. Yes, that was beautiful. Okay, so my phone is tripping, y'all. Okay, so we have one more sister, and I'm gonna call her, and then I'll be done with this, and I can upload this and let you guys take a look. This isn't to start mess. This is to really get the gaslighting out of the way, and also to help strengthen the community. Because what you're not going to do is make me feel like I was wrong to speak up for myself. So let me mute out because I don't want her to call in her. All right, y'all. Now, I was just asking her if I could say who this is. This is my heart, Benita Sutton. This is one of the most beautiful, honest, gracious, fair, loving sisters in the whole, basically world, but especially in the whole community. And I'm going to ask her similar questions that I asked the other ladies. So thank you so much. Peace, Benita. I know I'm breaking up, so sorry. Say peace.
You're good. I can hear you.
Okay. All right. Let me. Oh my gosh, my button on my phone is tripping. So I'm taking you off speaker because it's kind of choppy when I'm on speaker, but I'm being. No. You can stay that way. When you talk, I'm going to put you on speaker, and I'm still being recorded. So okay. So here's a scenario. You go to a party with your husband, and he's throwing the party, and you're a chef, and he has a chef at the party. Now you say to the chef, "Oh, I had your lasagna. It was good, but I don't think you should prepare lasagna with fontina cheese. I think you should use mozzarella because that's the traditional way to make lasagna." So you and the chef are cordially going back and forth about how to make lasagna. You disagree how he makes it. He disagrees how you make it. And then at the end of that, maybe it's like a 1.5, 2-minute conversation. You say, "But it was good lasagna. Thank you for, taking my input. And it's nice meeting you." And then he says, "Yes, nice meeting you too. I'm glad you enjoyed it." Then everything moves on. He starts talking to other people. And so then he says to your husband, "Thank you for having me as a chef for your party. And I knew you were going to bring your wife, your pit bull, Benita, over to talk to me about my food because I know she's a chef. I knew you were going to bring your pit bull over here to challenge me, but it's all good." How would you feel hearing him say that about you? You're in speaker.
Yeah, I would feel offended. Because a pit bull is another name for a dog. And female dog equals the word bitch. So that would be definitely offensive. But he shouldn't have said that. He should not have said that.
Okay, hold on. I love you. I know, I'm gonna get to that. But we're still in your scenario because I don't want anybody to think you're being biased. So in the scenario, after he told your husband, not even you, after he said your pit bull about you to your husband, and you sat there and thought about it, do you think you would be wrong? Let me see if you can hear me. Would it be because I want to make sure you can hear me. Would it be wrong and inappropriate if at that moment you waited maybe like a minute and you turned to him and said, quote, "May I ask you a question? Why did you feel comfortable calling me a pit bull? Did you think that was right?" Would that be inappropriate for you to ask him that at the party?
No, it wouldn't be. It would not have been inappropriate. No, not at all.
He called you a pit bull in front of everybody, right?
Yeah, well, if he said that in front of everybody, then that should have been addressed in front of everybody.
Okay. And then last question. How do you feel if people, and if I'm breaking up, tell me, how do you feel if people,
You breaking up?
okay, it's this phone. Okay. How do you feel if people at the party told you and later on call your husband and say she was wrong, he was giving her a compliment, she always is so sensitive, she shouldn't have said that to him, and that's why she ruined the party by asking him that? Why did she do that? He was not offending her, he was right, and he was complimenting her. How would you feel about people at the party doing that and you being told that you were the one who was wrong? I call that gaslighting, but what do you think about it? You're on speaker.
Yeah, I would call that gaslighting because, again, like I said, he said that, and he may not have been, offensive. He may not thought that he was being offensive towards you or whoever it was. But it was, it was, if it was you, it was offensive. So you had a right to address it. And for anybody else who has something to say about it, they should put themselves in their shoes as well. Or if they got a mother, a sister, a daughter, they should put them in that situation. How would they want it? How would they want someone to come off at them like that? If they wanted somebody to come off at them like that. But I don't know, Nepal. Sometimes men say things in an aggressive manner and feel like women shouldn't be offended by it.
Yes, you're right.
So
you're right. You're very right. So listen.
But if you felt offended, then you definitely should have addressed it. Especially if it was in front of, a group of people. You should have addressed it in front of a group of people, especially something like that.
Thank you. One more thing, because I love your input. I really appreciate you. Would it be even harder of a hit if it was a white man saying it to you?
I believe so. I believe so because there's history in that. There's deep-rooted history, and maybe he didn't mean it, but sometimes our black men, black and brown men, say things, out of just off the top. But if it was a white man, especially with us being oppressed by them, it hits deeper. So you were right for bringing it to his attention. Now he probably feels like now he probably knows that he should not do that anymore. He'll think about things when he says it from now on.
Exactly. So I'm glad you said that because, again, I talked to him. I said this before I called you. I talked to him and we talked afterwards, and he apologized profusely. He said he didn't mean it anyway. Maybe his subconscious mind is, no, I know, not maybe. His subconscious mind is saying things that his conscious mind doesn't want to say. So there's something that we all have to check ourselves, and definitely for our Caucasian brothers and sisters, they need to check themselves on certain things they say. Black men are doing it too, though. They're calling us aggressive and dogs. I'm not saying our brothers don't do it, but again, like you said, it's evil. You're not black, and black men don't get a pass to disrespect women, but it's even worse because black men and black women have their own thing going on in a little bubble, you know. There's no reason for any man to call a woman a pit bull, let alone a Caucasian man in a black forum who says you've been watching for years. Like, how are you coming in here calling me a pit bull? But
I mean, that's just being a bitch, though. Basically, I get it. Like, pit bull equals aggressive, but there's you know, duality with that as well too. You know, a pit bull is if you're calling a woman a pit bull, you're calling her a female dog, which is a bitch. And you know, maybe he didn't mean it like that, but it still is offensive.
Thank you. And one last thing, because you said the aggressive thing. I know I'm breaking up, so let me. This whole aggressive thing, when it comes to me as the woman, all of a sudden I'm aggressive when I'm asking him about a scripture, and I'm not, you know, I'm not sugarcoating him. It's a debate forum called The Toughest Environment. It's funny how I'm labeled as aggressive, but everybody else can come in there and say, you know, you don't know what you're talking about, and challenge him. It's not just him. Now I'm broadening it out where it's all the men. Have you noticed that at all? That every time I get in there, I got to hear about I'm aggressive, or I got to be careful and hurting men's feelings when they say women are more emotional. What do you think about that?
I mean, I feel like men be dishing it but can't take it. That's just sums it up.
Yep.
That's all I can say about that. No. They always want to, you know, attack, but then when they're attacked, it's a problem.
Had to drop that bomb for my sister. Listen, I love you so much. I haven't talked to you for a minute. I got to close this down, and if I can, if you don't mind, I'm going to call you in like 10 minutes. I'm just closing this out. Thank you, Bonita Sutton. You are the best. I'm going to be calling you in 10 minutes. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. Bye. Bye. Okay, so I think that's enough women. I could keep calling and calling. I mean, I could call people all day, but I think these are women who are respected. The first person, she didn't want her name said, but she watches the show. These are ladies. And I love my sisters. I mentioned Ebony Knowledge earlier in my other stream, but I love Ebony Knowledge. I love the women who tune in. I love the women who represent. But please do not ever, ever gaslight me and tell me that someone calling me a pit bull is appropriate or a compliment. And I'm not aggressive. I wasn't aggressive. Sonetter has since taken that clip off of the video, so unfortunately you can't go look at it, but it happened, and I did speak to the gentleman, and he apologized, and he'll know better, like our sisters mentioned. So peace. Thank you so much. I will be uploading this to the R.I.S.E channel and to Nepal the R.I.S.E. Thank you so much to the darkest minds of the light. Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Hotep. Namaste. Jambo. Ashe. Shalom. Shalom. All the greetings of love and light to the darkest minds of the light. Thank you for tuning in. Oh, and don't forget to like and subscribe.